Hello, everybody. My name's Elizabeth, the Education Coordinator for Marlene's Market and Deli. Tonight's special guest we have with us is Ashley Looker, Empowerment Coach and Yoga Teacher. Thank you so much, Ashley, for being here with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm super excited.
We are too. So you have a really amazing topic to share with us tonight.
Yes, yeah. I'm just so grateful that I've connected with Marlene's, and you asked me, I feel like years ago, to do these talks, and they're just so much fun. And you had asked me, what I wanted to talk about, and I was like, one of the things that's been really coming up for me is, and a lot of my clients as well, is how we can tend to overcomplicate health because there is so much information and misinformation out there. So yeah, that's my intention today, is just to really help simplify and hopefully make health a little bit more sustainable, easy, right? Like health doesn't have to be so hard. And so that's my hope today, is that you all come away with some really amazing, easy, tangible tools that you can apply to your life that will make a big difference. Because that's the other thing, is that I feel like sometimes the simpler the tools, the more cynical we are. We're like, really? Like, is that actually going to work? Like, and I'm just speaking for myself here. I am that way. It has to be complicated. It has to be hard. There has to be these restrictions and these guidelines and these rules. And so I kind of want to strip all of that back tonight is my hope. So, yeah, I'm excited. And please feel free to utilize the chat, y'all. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Are you in the Pacific Northwest? I mean, now that we're, virtual, people can join from all over. So please do feel free to share in the chat where you're tuning in from, and just share any questions that come up for you. I can do my best to answer those at the end if we have time. So yeah. All right, I'll just quickly introduce myself. I'm Ashley, obviously. I am many things. There are many hats that I wear in the world of coaching. So I started off as a holistic health coach. I'm still a holistic health coach. Got into holistic health through my own health struggles, was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at 23 years old. And my doctor just literally told me to try something other than medication. And I had no idea what to try. I had no idea what to do. And I just started researching. And when I was 23, I mean, how many years ago was that? Holistic health was kind of just up and coming. I mean, at least it was for me. I wasn't really familiar with it, but I just started applying some of the things I'm going to talk about today. And it literally changed my life. And I feel so like even a little corny saying that, because I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, but it's so true. It's part of my story. I literally was able to minimize my flare-ups, minimize the pain, inflammation from several of the things I'm going to talk about today. So I'm also a certified eating psychology coach, because we know that it's not always about the food. There are some underlying factors that can creep up for us that drive our behaviors and habits around food. So that training just, again, transformed my life in the way that I think about food. I'm a mindfulness teacher, yoga teacher, as Elizabeth said. I'm an NLP practitioner, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And yay, welcome all these people. Awesome. And above all of this, I am a happiness enthusiast. I am a lot of the work that I do with my clients is around increasing our happiness from the inside out, whether that is around food, our body image, our relationships, our jobs, really just infusing more and more joy into our lives because, I'm going to say it, life is short. And it is my deepest intention to help people come alive and connect with their joy while they're here, while we're all here on planet Earth. So I'm just, again, thank you. Welcome. I'm just so grateful for being here. So thank you. And welcome everyone. Okay. So maybe you have heard this quote somewhere along the line, but I remember reading this when I was in my eating psychology program. And it really struck me. And I felt like it called me out, honestly, because we're going to talk about this too today. I know for me, I come up with so many excuses as to why taking care of myself is hard, or why I can't do it, or why I don't have the energy, or why I don't want to put in the effort, right? And so this quote really just hit me right in my heart, right? Like we have a choice. We can make the choice to focus on health, or eventually we're going to have to make time for illness. So the quote is, those who think they have no time for bodily exercise, and I would include sleep, I would include rest, I would include nourishing food, will sooner or later have to find the time for illness. So here's where I want to start tonight. Can health be simple? And I would love to hear your thoughts in the chat as well if you feel called. Of course, never any pressure, but I'm always so curious to hear where y'all are at when it comes to health. As I had said before in the very beginning, for me, I tend to overcomplicate health because there is so much information out there, and it's so hard to distinguish, is this true? Is this true? No, this is BS. This isn't BS. Like, how does this feel for me? How can I apply this in my own life? Like, the thing about so much of the information that we're told and fed is that it's so generalized. It's so generalized. And this is one of the reasons why I named my business Unique Holistic Happiness, because we all have unique needs, physical needs, psychological needs. Like, we all have our own unique, sensitivities, allergies, the circumstances in our lives. And it drives me a little crazy because, so much of what is out there is so generalized. And one of the things I really want to encourage us all to do starting today is to really honor, I'm a unique being. Like, I need, what I need is probably not what Elizabeth needs, or Roberta or Kim or Debbie or anybody who is here, right? So how can we start to step into that, right? Really step into, what, this is what works for me. This is what I'm going to apply to my life because this is what makes me feel good, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So not only that, but so much of what we're taught about health is really rooted in rigidity and control, right? There's like cutting this out and cutting that out. And of course, right, if we have sensitivities to gluten or sugar or whatever the case may be, absolutely, we need to cut those things out. But what I see is, from so many of my clients and myself included, is we're cutting out so much of the goodness. Like, food is meant to be pleasurable, and we're cutting out and restricting ourselves from so much of that goodness, right? And so I want to introduce like a new strategy of being today, of being with your food, and, releasing, maybe for some of you who are here who maybe have a little bit of a, have your hands like gripped around the food, have a little bit of a control streak with the food, or a little rigidity with food, which again, we're taught, right? We are taught that. We see it from so many people in the health industry. And I just want to say, like, today as well, please just in the true unique holistic happiness nature, like, take what resonates with you from what I'm talking about today and just leave what doesn't. That's part of my principles as a coach, is like, really take what feels resonant to you and just let go of what doesn't, and apply what feels really inspirational and true for you. So do you feel worthy of health? Do you feel worthy of feeling really good in your life? So I just want to like lead with that today as well, right? Like, do you feel worthy of feeling really good? I know for me, that has been a tough one to wrap my head around. I haven't always felt worthy. In order to feel worthy of feeling good, I had to be perfect, right? I had to be perfect with my food. I had to be perfect with my exercise. And then I could feel really good. And if I just, met this certain way and looked this certain way, then I'll be worthy, right? Then I'll be worthy of feeling good and vibrance and abundance and all the things. We're worthy of all of that now, right? You deserve to feel really, really good in the body that you have been given. And so lastly, to get us started before I jump into these seven no-cost ways to drastically improve your health, is, how do you define health? Right? Like, literally, hopefully, if you haven't, I forgot to mention this, have a piece of paper and pen handy. If you're not in your car or driving or anything like that, definitely take some notes, please. Take as many notes as you want to. How do you define health? I think so many of us, again, I'm speaking truly from so much personal experience today, that my definition of health looked like a number on the scale. But that isn't a true whole depiction of health. There are so many other factors, right? So I could be the perfect weight, but are my relationships crap, right? Am I stressed out to the max at work? Am I beating myself up the second I have a cookie? Like, health isn't just about diet and exercise, although those are two highly important things, right? It's not all of it. So how do you define health? And please, again, feel free to put in the chat how you define health. Because I think, because we're so prone to looking for the answers outside of us, we allow others to define that for us. And so I just want to put it back on you, because you are very smart. You know yourself, and it's important for you to define what that looks like. And honestly, so much of what health looks like for me is joy. And you're going to see that kind of threaded throughout the rest of my presentation today. So let's jump in. Okay, so just before you roll your eyes and are like, oh my God, movement and exercise, right? Like, I feel like this is something I would totally roll my eyes at, honestly. But this is so important. And there is emphasis on joyful movement. And for me personally, the word movement is even intentionally used here, because I think with the word exercise, for me, I already have an image in my mind of getting on the treadmill and like killing myself. I'm like sweating to death, you know? And again, that is not the only kind of movement or exercise out there. There are so many different ways to move your body. Funny story. So a couple of my favorite ways to move my body are just like walks. I literally, Elizabeth and I, before we let everybody in, we were talking about how rainy it is here today, but I went outside and walked and it felt like play to me in the rain. Like, cause I just walked in the rain and it felt like play. It felt like joy. It was my niece's birthday last month and they were all jumping on the trampoline and they're like, Auntie, come jump on the trampoline. That is a workout. That is a workout now. Like, you know, so jumping on the trampoline, getting outside for walks, stretching, you know, yoga, of course. There are so many, hiking. I mean, you don't have to spend money on a gym membership or anything. You can, you know, pull up a yoga video on YouTube. There are so many different ways to get in movement. And I encourage you, if you haven't found that thing for you yet that you really enjoy, to just experiment, right? To just experiment. I bought a kayak this last summer, but I went and tried it out first. You know, I was like, I mean, it sounds like fun, but I don't know, like, will I like it? Will I not? So I went and experimented, like give whatever sounds like, like that sounds fun. Like give it a try. You never know. It might be your thing. It might be your way, your joyful movement. When movement is joyful, we stay consistent with it. When it's fun, we are so much more apt to be like, sweet, like I get to go for my walk today, or, you know, whatever else it is for you. When it becomes dreadful and we start to like, oh, really like resent it and not look forward to it, we're not going to want to do it. And I feel like, because I did this for so many years, pushing and forcing will only get you so far. We have a set amount of willpower every single day. Right? And I like to think of this as like the energy of the push and pull, right? Like for me, when I went out on that walk today, it was like that pull. It was like that, oh, this is going to be fun. Like, I'm not worried about how many calories I'm going to burn, you know, like I'm going to keep a good pace, but I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to, you know, be in the rain. I'm going to look at the leaves. I'm going to do the things, right? And just have fun, versus like being pushed into it and like digging your heels in and forcing yourself to go like out for the walk or to the gym or whatever. Again, that can only take us so far. So follow the pull, right? There's an energy behind the joyful movement. And I really encourage you to follow that, right? And, you know, if it resonates with you, when it comes to movement, like letting go of that calories in versus calories out way of thinking, right? Like we have the extra cookie, so we have to do the extra 10 minutes of the workout. Like really just letting that go, really letting those kinds of patterns and behaviors go, and see if you can literally lead with love. I know that might sound like, again, this is something I probably would have rolled my eyes at, but see if you can lead with joy and see how that changes your relationship with movement. And I would also love to know in the chat, what kind of movement you love to engage in. What's your favorite? I am a yoga and a walker, a yoga girl and a walker. Those are two of the things that I really enjoy and I really leaned on during the pandemic as well. I do have like a kettlebell that I like to use as well sometimes. Just in some resistance bands that I'll just make up my own stuff, honestly. I don't even really know if I'm doing it correctly, but it's fun. So definitely let me know. Yay. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Oh, something popped. Okay, Elizabeth says hiking and swimming. Yes. Oh my gosh. I used to be a swimmer. That is an intense workout for me now too. Like that is good. Yeah. I like yoga and Pilates. Yes. Oh my gosh, my sister and I used to do Pilates together all the time. Yeah. Whew. I've also tried bar, which I really enjoyed, but that is a workout. That is a workout for sure, which I really do enjoy, like working up a sweat. But maybe not every day. Maybe not every single day. Okay. So yeah, I might challenge some of like the beliefs and things that we have around exercise and health and nutrition today. So yeah, like I feel like some people say like you need to sweat every day or, you know, drink this amount of water or that amount. Like, yeah, just I might challenge some of those beliefs. And again, just take what resonates and leave what doesn't always. Okay. Number 2, mindfulness and presence. This is huge. This is huge. So let me give you a couple examples as to how this can show up for you with food and with movement and just in your daily life, right? Because it's not just about those things, but how can we be more mindful and present in our lives, period? You know, bringing more mindfulness into our meals. I mean, that in and of itself is huge. So to bring mindfulness and presence into our meals is like paying attention to the 5 senses, right? Just paying attention to what you see, what you hear, perhaps, what you taste, of course, but like allowing yourself to really savor. Elizabeth's cat's joining her, yes. Allow yourself to really savor your food, because here's the thing. Again, I already said this, but food is meant to be a pleasurable experience. You know, that's like the innate purpose. I mean, obviously to give us nutrition to sustain life, but also right up there is pleasure and to enjoy it, right? So savoring your meals, slowing down as you eat. This is going to help you become so much more in tune with those hunger and fullness signals, especially if, you know, talking about while you're eating, the fullness signals. If you're a fast eater, like I know I definitely can be, it is so hard to recognize when I'm full, when I'm not paying attention, when I'm just unconsciously eating in front of the TV or, you know, whatever the case may be, working perhaps. It slows us down. And there is something to be said about savoring our food and being in the relaxation state when we're doing it, being in a mindful state. We digest our food completely differently when we do that. And on the contrary, we digest our food very differently when we're in a stressed out state, when we're unconscious, when we're angry, when we're sad, right? So bringing some mindfulness into your meals is going to transform your life. Like that is just a given. It is a given. It's a strong statement. but it is so true. It is so true. So if we want to achieve what optimal health looks like for you and how you define that, we have to be listening to our bodies. We have to be listening to our bodies. I think we are living from the neck up, and we are eating when we're told we need to eat because it's noon and that's lunchtime. And sometimes that's just the way it is, right? And that's the way our life is. But can we listen and pay attention a little bit more to when your body is giving you the signal to eat, and when your body is giving you the signal that it's full, or that it wants a hug, or right, even beyond food and exercise, can we pay more attention and listen to what our body needs on every level? And slowing down and bringing more mindfulness, more presence into your life helps you find that rhythm, right? It helps you get on your rhythm. My teacher would call this biocircadian nutrition, which is like identifying when your body wants to eat, basically, right? When your body wants to eat. And when we slow down and bring more mindfulness and presence into our lives, we find that rhythm. We connect with that rhythm. We start to notice like, oh, like I get hungry for breakfast around like 8:30 or 9. And oh, my body does really well with like a snack at 3 p.m. And right, like we start to get all these messages that our body is giving us all the time, but we're just not paying attention. Right? It's always talking to us, but it's whether or not we are paying attention. And that is where the mindfulness and the presence comes in. So mindfulness really is just being in the moment right now without judgment, right? Just noticing and observing what's coming up for you right now in this moment, how you're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. All right. So that is number 2. Let's move on to number 3. I would just want to be conscious of the time. I'm going to take a sip of my tea. Okay, so soul nourishment. Elizabeth has probably heard me talk about this topic so many times, and I just love it. Yes, yes, I know. I love it. So I first learned about this. My teacher in the training that I took called it something different. They called it primary food. And I just resonated with this, like, I really felt it as like soul nourishment for myself. And what soul nourishment is the thing that just lights you up. The thing that you love to do. Like maybe it is a certain hobby or activity that you love to do, but it fills you up on a level that food never could. But what's interesting is we often reach for food when our soul is starving, right? Food is a really easy, because its innate energy is to bring us pleasure. When we want joy, it is so easy to be like cupcakes, like the things, right? Because they're meant to bring us joy. But oftentimes we get that craving confused. And it's actually this soul nourishment that our body is actually really craving and really needing and wanting. And I think I read this quote the other day and I was like, soul hunger is the silent pandemic of the 21st century. And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I just felt like there was so much truth in that. We live in a hustle culture. We live in a go, go, go culture. We live in a productivity culture. We live in a capitalistic culture. Like that's what we live in. And so all these other things, all these other responsibilities and obligations and to-dos and errands and stuff comes before our soul nourishment because we don't see it as productive. if you leave here today, I mean, all of these things are valuable, but this is what I would encourage you to do. I would encourage you to find time for your soul nourishment, that thing that lights you up. Like, and I love to give the example of kids. Like, if you have kids or you're around kids, you know, they'd be out playing right now in the rain, right? And they'd just be like splashing through mud puddles and like riding their bikes and like doing all the things and building forts and making up games. And like they could just be out there for hours, right? And you have to literally coax them in to eat. They're like, come on. And you have to like literally force them to eat because they're so alive, right? They're so connected to their joy. That's what soul nourishment is. That is what soul nourishment is. And so, again, you can put it in the chat if you feel called, what your soul nourishment is. So for me, the thing that lights me up the most is learning. Like I love to learn. I just could literally do it for hours and hours and hours. I'm like just such a big nerd. I love to learn about journaling. I'm a huge journaler. That's another thing I could do for hours and hours and hours. I just love to write. So please feel free to put it in the chat. What lights you up? And again, if you're not sure, if you're like, oh, I don't know, or I lost connection with that, or, you know, oh, I used to do this as a kid, but I don't really know if it's, you know, what I love to do anymore. Like definitely, again, go back. What did you love to do as a kid? Try it out again, you know, or follow that little inkling that's like, oh, that sounds like fun. Like give it a try, experiment with it. But bottom line, add in more play, add in more joy, whatever that looks like for you. It doesn't have to be like the thing, the soul nourishment. Add in more play to your life and watch your health transform, right? When we are in relaxation, when we're in play, when we're in joy, it puts us in the optimal state for health. It puts us in the optimal state for healing. So whatever it is that, you know, you're trying to heal right now, whether it's a symptom or a disease or an illness or heartbreak or whatever it is, this will help. This will help. I see some things coming in the chat. Elizabeth says music, listening to live music. That music is one of the things for me too. Performing, definitely learning too. Painting with friends. Bridget says writing, drawing, sometimes even just coloring and dancing. Dancing is also one of mine too. Yes. Oh my gosh. Put on a song, 5 minutes, right? See how it transforms your mood, right? And mood has a big, you know, impact on our mental health, obviously emotional health, and our physical health. So this is really, really important. Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so Kim says, gardening, creative cooking, absolutely. Farmers markets and you pig markets or farms, enjoying the season, such as blueberries, strawberries, pumpkins. Yes. Oh, like it just sounds amazing. I just love seeing and hearing this from you guys. So make time for that. Make time for it, whatever it is for you. Okay. Play, joy, silliness, goofiness, all of it, all of it. And the Dalai Lama is a pretty smart guy. And I think that he's very spot on with this, that happiness is the highest form of health, right? Happiness is the highest form of health. All right. So another beautiful thing that we can incorporate more of that is free, doesn't cost us a thing. As a matter of fact, our body does it unconsciously without us even having to tell it to. Breath. The breath is such a powerful force when it comes to our food. As a matter of fact, Pranayama is a Sanskrit word that I learned in my yoga teacher training, which translates to life force. Pranayama, life force, breath, life force. Breath literally gives us life. Breath is life. But we're not paying attention to it, right? Like even as a yoga teacher, even as a mindfulness teacher, I know how difficult it is to pause and take a few deep intentional breaths. But pausing to take 3 to 5 deep intentional breaths can slow down our monkey mind. It can shift our perspective. It can improve our digestion. It can lower cortisol levels. I mean, so many things, you guys. The list is endless in what our breath can do and how our breath can support us. Slow, intentional breathing, which I highly encourage you to incorporate as often as possible, and especially, around your meals, is really, really a powerful time to slow down your breath, because it puts us in the relaxation state. Right? The slower and more intentional our breath is, the more relaxed we are. And oftentimes, the slower and more relaxed our breath is, the more calm our mind is. Right? Slow down your breath and you slow down your mind. Right? Which often means getting out of that monkey mind, getting out of that stressful, right, your mind is on a hamster wheel about something, you're ruminating about something. So using the breath can take you out of that stress state and into the relaxation state, which is, as I've already mentioned, it helps to improve our digestion. It puts us in the optimal state for healing on every single level. It's amazing. And also, the breath brings us into the present moment. Right? So it brings us into the present moment, which is the most powerful moment, right? It brings us right here, because we can't take a past breath, whether you try to or not, right? You can't take a past breath and you can't take a future breath. So when you take an intentional breath, you land in your body, you land in your life, you land with your meal, right? And that is a really, really powerful place to be. It is a really powerful place to be. And the other way, just to kind of tie this back to health and science, it sparks this thing called the cephalic phase digestive response, which basically just means that when you're eating a meal and you slow down your breath and you're very mindful and intentional with your breath and your meal, you recognize your brain gets to catch up and say, I'm full, right? It's basically, it tells our brain that, hey, you're full. You don't need that second helping. You don't need, right? So it's just really, really powerful stuff, really powerful stuff. And again, we don't have to fly to Maui or, have all the perfect food. It doesn't matter what we're eating. It's how we're eating, right? Of course, we probably don't want to have McDonald's 3 meals a day, right? But how we are eating matters too, right? How we are with our food matters too. I just saw when I was in massage school, nights and weekends while working full-time elsewhere, we always started class with balanced breathing exercises. And it was amazing, totally changed the whole energy of the class to be present and ready, right? I can't tell you how many times I've done that, right? Showed up to this class and been and just taking a few breaths, it allows you to land and be present for our life, right? Present in our life. That is so cool, Kim. I just got chills. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's, again, powerful, powerful stuff. Okay, I'm just going to move right along because I want to make sure that we get to all of these things. Okay. again, just hear me out with this. Okay, hear me out with this. My teacher would always say, and when I was in my eating psychology program, he was like, we need to be incorporating more vitamin G and more vitamin L into our lives, like, and with our meals, right? So, because they literally act as a vitamin. It's like taking your multivitamin, right? Like, take your daily dose of gratitude, take your daily dose of love into your life. And if you aren't like, haven't picked up on it yet, there's a big theme that I'm talking about today, which is joy, right? Gratitude is right up there with joy and love in terms of the highest vibrational emotions we can feel and experience. And then there's this other kind of thing I've been talking around and mentioning, which is relaxation, which again is so powerful. And we can do it with all of these things that I'm talking about today. It is going to help you, whatever your health goal is. Again, going back to that definition, however it is that you define health, breath, joyful movement, mindfulness, gratitude, love, all of these things are going to support you in achieving those goals. So this is about loving yourself without the desperate need to change or fix yourself. Because I think that's how many of us, and this is how honestly many of my clients come to me, desperate to change or fix themselves, desperate to lose the weight, desperate to, feel comfortable in their body, desperate to, heal themselves in one way or another, and to fix, right? To fix themselves. And I want to encourage you to love yourself first. Find gratitude and love for your body first. And that sets you up to heal whatever it is that you need and want to heal. I feel like we've had it backwards, right? We've had it backwards. And when we come to it, like, I need to fix something about myself, that's coming from a place of, rage, hate, frustration, annoyance, again, desperation, grief, even. And yes, oftentimes that is the reality of the situation. And how can you incorporate a little bit more gratitude, a little bit more love, right? For your body, for your food, for yourself. And this is just kind of a reframe that I like to give myself and my clients, is like, what if your biggest struggles, right? Like whatever struggle you potentially, maybe not, came to this class with today, what if that was, or what if your biggest struggles are pointing you to where you need the most love? Right? Like, what if the extra weight was there because what it actually needs is love? It doesn't need you to get rid of it and try to fix it and change it. What if the biggest struggles actually were just the things that needed the most love? For me, that's a huge perspective shifter, right? And I honestly believe that's the truth, right? The challenges that we have with eating and with food, what if you incorporated more love, right? Instead of trying to fix things and take things out and, add in more love. Again, just experiment and see how it could potentially change things, right? Okay. Compassionate thoughts and beliefs. This is a huge one. And I literally, Elizabeth, we might need to do a full class on this, just FYI. Just, yeah, because this really is digestion, like health starts in the mind. It starts in the mind, right? It's what are we thinking and believing about food? What are we thinking and believing about our body? Adding in more compassion, hands down, transformational practice. Transformational practice. Compassion cures, right? Add in the compassion where you are beating yourself up and see what happens. See what starts to naturally unfold and change for you in your life. You know, my teacher always said too, he was like, food is one of the first relationships you have. And we don't think about that, right? But food, it really is, we create a relationship with it from day one, right? And so many of us have stories around our food and our body that developed a long time ago. And they developed unconsciously and unknowingly. And sometimes we just have to pause and reevaluate the story that we're telling ourselves about our food and about health and about our body. And so I encourage you to write this question down, maybe do some journaling around it later. What new story are you ready to claim? Right? What new story are you ready to claim about your body? Your health can quite simply be determined by the quality of your thoughts. Right? Again, you can have the perfect toned abs and be the perfect weight, but if you're constantly talking smack to yourself, that's energy that you're putting back into your body. You know, it might sound a little bit woo, but everything is energy. You know, if we're giving ourselves that poison, if we're telling ourselves that toxic story, how is that having an impact on your health? So my teacher called it toxic beliefs, you know, because we all have them, unfortunately, you know. So I just highly encourage you to reevaluate that story and those beliefs that you've been telling yourself about your body, and just really being like, is this true? Is it true that my body is broken and it's betraying me and I'm never going to get there and it's never going to be fixed and I'm too fat and I'm too ugly and I'm too this and right? Reevaluate that story and create a new one. What is the new story that you want to create for yourself around your food and your body? Okay, last but certainly not least, I love this one too. I love all of these. I love all of these, to be honest. But this was another one that really transformed the way that I was with my food and with my life. So my teacher would say, vitamin Q, add in more vitamin Q, which is quality, right? Quality over quantity. So what the heck do I mean by that? This is about, this goes a little deeper, right, you guys, because, we spend so much of our precious time like worried about food and worried about our body. And pretty soon this life it gets really short and we've spent so much time worried about the things that don't really matter. And so this is about seeing your life as sacred. Really seeing your life as sacred. How do you want to improve the quality of your life? This isn't about calories. This isn't about, the money you can accumulate in the bank. This isn't about how many follows you can get or how many likes you get or anything like that. This is about the quality of your life. So thinking about it in terms of, the quality of your thoughts, which I just talked about, right? What are the quality of your thoughts? Your behaviors, right? Are your behaviors and actions aligned with your integrity and what's really important to you and your values? And yes, I mean, this isn't not necessarily like no cost, but this is definitely really powerful. But the quality of your food, right? No matter what it is, like I was telling my client the other day, it was something about a cookie. And I was like, well, if you're going to eat a cookie, number one, please do. Number two, enjoy it. And number three, let it just be the most delicious, high quality. And this is all Marlene's, by the way, like the ingredients that you're putting in the food, right? If you're going to eat cake, just with the best chocolate, right? And there is, again, this is energy. This is the quality of that just can make a difference. It amplifies the experiences in our lives, right? What's the quality of your relationships like? Again, huge game changer, right? So where can you improve the quality in your life? Maybe that is with food, right? Maybe that is in your relationships. Is it in your job, right? Can you have better boundaries, better time boundaries in your job in order to, have more downtime for soul nourishment? Like, right? How can you improve your thoughts? The quality of your thoughts. Yeah, quality is huge. It is energy. It's all energy. Okay. And lastly, you can do this easily by simply slowing down. I mean, slowing down in your life, you're going to start noticing beauty. You're going to start noticing, like the way I'm just thinking about my own experiences, like the way the walnut tree is shedding its leaves right now, and the way my nieces giggle, and right, all these little simple things that just amplify the quality of my life when I'm there and I notice them, right? And I'm present with them. So slowing down can definitely help us do that. So I am going to ask you all, if you would like, of course, please feel free to share in the chat. And I think there is one, Byron Katie, the work is a good, oh yes, she is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. She is awesome, Kim. What's your biggest takeaway? And what, if anything, resonated with you the most? What do you want to start applying today? What are you inspired to apply? Again, we're not forcing ourselves into anything. Where's that pull, right? What's pulling you that you're like, I want to try that. That sounds cool. Oh my gosh, Lucy says I'm going to try more compassion. Lucy, you will not regret that. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I definitely need more of that too right now. So I'm definitely going to be applying that. Elizabeth says, I need to remember to breathe more, right? Like, yes, it is so true, right? It is a gift that we don't have to tell ourselves to do it, and it's unconscious, but it's so powerful when we pay attention to it as well. I totally get that, Elizabeth. Yes. And then Bridget says, I want to find more joy and apply gratitude and compassion. Yes. Bridget, that is so, so powerful. Wow. I'm gonna lovingly, energetically hold us accountable to these things, because again, They may sound simple, they might even sound frivolous. Do not underestimate the power of the simplicity of these things, right? It doesn't have to be hard, it can be simple. Debbie says the slow breathing and finding yoga on YouTube. Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so good. This is so good. Yes. Kim says, I'm going to apply slowing down, even for small amounts of time during the day. Exactly, Kim. Such a good point, right? Just a few moments, a few breaths, right? 2 minutes to just slow down and be in the moment. Again, so powerful. Like I just got chills like that. It's just so powerful. So don't underestimate it. You got it. You guys can do this. Yes. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. It's right at 6 o'clock. Yay.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Oh, it's always such a pleasure working with you. You're such an inspiration. I took amazing notes and I am really excited for that potential compassionate thoughts and beliefs class, maybe for January.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. I'm all for it. Yes, everyone come back for that next talk, potentially in January. Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Oh, positive and applicable. Thank you so much, Bridget. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I just thank you so much for being here, everyone. This has been so much fun. So much fun.